DETV News is sponsored by Newcastle County Government.
Abortion becomes a hot-button issue in Seaford.
Plus, dark bus drivers are up in arms over company policies.
And a new family entertainment center opens in Wilmington. We'll have that story along with your local sports and weather coming up next. Good evening and welcome to DETV News, your trusted news source. I'm Lauren Wilson.
And I'm Matt Ford. Thanks for being with us tonight. We begin tonight in Sussex County, where the city of Seaford passed a controversial law restricting abortion. Just 4 days after the United States Supreme Court sustained a Texas law banning abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy, Seaford City Council passed an ordinance creating extra barriers for women seeking abortion services. In a 3-2 vote, the council passed a measure requiring the burial or cremation of any fetal remains from a miscarriage or an abortion performed in the city.
Under the current state of Delaware law, fetal remains are considered pathological waste. And that's one of the reasons why some of these laws have been passed, because these government bodies don't want fetal remains to be referred to as waste, pathological waste. It's a more dignified way to approach it. In Delaware, pathological waste must be disposed of by incineration, cremation, or interment.
Those who choose to have abortions must also pay for the cremation or burial services. Community members filled City Hall awaiting the council's decision. The definition of human remains was also a hot topic discussed at the meeting on Tuesday night. Some believe remains resulting from an abortion, no matter the stage of pregnancy, are still considered remains. Part of the ordinance's goal is to treat fetal remains like any other deceased person. But according to Delaware state law, fetal remains are only considered human if they weigh more than 350 grams or the pregnancy lasts up to 20 weeks. The ACLU of Delaware plans to sue the city of Seaford over the ordinance. It has 30 days after the ordinance is passed to file a suit.
Over the weekend, a 15-year-old girl was shot in the 800 block of Kirkwood Street in Wilmington. Reports indicate the teenager was found with 4 gunshot wounds. She was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Anyone with information is asked to contact Delaware Crime Stoppers at 1-800-TIP-3333.
30 years, that's how long a Wilmington man will spend behind bars for his role in a gang-related revenge scheme. That scheme resulted in the murder of a rival gang member's girlfriend and the shooting of an innocent 6-year-old boy. This is 37-year-old Ryan Bacon, also known as Buck 50. Federal prosecutors say he took part in the kidnapping of a 28-year-old Newark woman. Her body was found in the woods near Elkton, Maryland. Investigators say the 6-year-old boy was shot during an exchange of gunfire between the two gangs. Indications are the child just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Bacon agreed to a 30-year sentence in a federal prison.
3 Wilmington teens were charged in connection to a pair of attempted carjackings in the parking lot of Target on Brandywine Parkway in North Wilmington on Monday. According to Delaware State Police, 3 15-year-olds first attempted to carjack a 28-year-old man around 6 p.m. Police say the victim was getting into his vehicle when the 3 suspects attempted to forcibly remove him from it. The victim was able to drive away. An hour later, the suspects made a second attempt, this time involving a 57-year-old woman who was getting into her vehicle in the very same parking lot. The trio took the woman's car keys, but bystanders came to the rescue, causing the teens to run away. Police soon found the 3 suspects in the shopping center where they were taken into custody. Each was charged with second-degree attempted robbery and conspiracy. Both are felonies. The teens were released on $13,000 bond.
A California man has been charged with robbing a Priceless Corner area bank, get this, just before he became a customer. Police say 44-year-old McRoberts Williams gave a hold-up note to the teller at a Wells Fargo bank on Old Capitol Trail Saturday morning. Williams got an undisclosed amount of cash, and as he was leaving the scene, he made a deposit at an ATM outside. Troopers responding to the robbery spotted Williams behind the Price's Corner shopping center and arrested him. He's being held at the Howard R. Young Correctional Institution. Earlier this week, DART bus drivers stood and chanted on Beach Street in Wilmington in protest of the company's COVID policies. Workers are upset with the company for only allowing testing for non-vaccinated employees instead of having both unvaccinated and vaccinated tested.
We're asking for something that's just fair representation. Test everybody. You have vaccinated people, fully vaccinated, spreading the virus to others. And that's what they wanted safety. That's what we're fighting for, is safety.
And a strike by school bus drivers left thousands of students stranded, but it was quickly settled after intense negotiations. Drivers took to the picket lines on Wednesday, but a tentative deal was reached by Thursday afternoon. The drivers were back behind the wheels on Friday. The school districts affected were Appoquinimink, Christina, and Newcastle County Votech.
Still to come tonight, it looks like face masks will be worn in schools longer than expected.
And ball gowns and bow ties were seen throughout the city this weekend. Stay tuned to see more fun and festivities on DETV News.
As soon as I got here, I just felt the warm embrace of the community, man. Like what y'all got going on is wonderful. And no wonder y'all called the work group, because y'all putting that work in. For real, seriously, y'all getting the work done.
We are committed to creating the best Riverside we can with the community, for the community.
This message is brought to you by Newcastle County Government.
Hi, I'm Dr. Neil Hochstein at ENT and Allergy of Delaware. We've been very fortunate to be protected from COVID-19 with the vaccines, but now we're hearing a lot about booster shots. If you're over 65 or have some immune compromise, booster shots are an effective way to strengthen your immune system again. It's the same vaccine that you received with your first or second dose, and it can extend and strengthen the protection that you've already received. Keep yourself and your friends and family safe. Thank you.
It looks like students in Delaware will be wearing face masks longer than anticipated in public and private schools. Governor John Carney extended the mask mandate at least until February 8th. The move was prompted by a spike in cases as Carney and public health officials continue to push for more kids to get vaccinated. The chief executive says by improving the vaccination rates in the first state, Delaware will have a greater chance of getting past the pandemic.
And speaking of schools, Delaware State Police issued a statement saying no credible threats have been found at any schools throughout the state. That statement comes after multiple school threats showed up on social media, not only in Delaware, but across the country. State police took those threats seriously, but investigations revealed the posts and images shown on social media pose no real threat to students. Anyone seeing or hearing anything suspicious is urged to call 911 or the Delaware Anti-Terrorism Tip Line at the number on the bottom of your screen. Police want to remind everyone to stay cognizant and that the absence of intelligence does not mean the absence of a threat.
This week's Sussex County Council meeting was the last for the year, and it turned out to be a marathon with a packed agenda. One of the items at the top, redistricting. County Attorney Everett Moore came to council with new redistricting maps, which are quite different from 10 years ago. Sussex County gained more than 40,000 new residents in the past 10 years, and the county council's boundaries, just like the state legislative boundaries, must be adjusted accordingly. Moore says he tried to keep boundaries for school districts as consistent as possible. Public comment on the draft map will be taken through January 7th. You can find out more by going to sussexcounty.gov.
A piece of history will be restored, much to the relief of those who attended the Hockessin Colored School number 107. Newcastle County Executive Matt Meyer was joined by Governor John Carney and a group called the Friends of Hockessin Colored School number 107 for a groundbreaking ceremony. Construction on the segregated one-room schoolhouse that once stood on the property will begin soon. Former students fought to save the land and have the schoolhouse rebuilt. It will be used as a center for learning history and workshops on diversity. Some former students feared the property would be redeveloped for housing. 91-year-old James Knott values the education and discipline he received as a student and is happy to know the school will be restored.
So it's very important to me so I can maybe one day bring my grandchildren here and show them where I started from, make them appreciate what they have now.
The Hockessin Colored School was built in 1920 and played a major role in the U.S. Supreme Court ruling of Brown versus the Board of Education that desegregated schools across the country.
Good news for Newcastle County. On behalf of county employees, County Executive Matt Meyer accepted the Delmarva chapter of the American Red Cross Corporate Community Partner Award for the year 2021. The recognition was given based on the county's partnership with the American Red Cross to co-host more than 40 blood drives throughout the pandemic.
We're going to take a quick break. Don't go away. You're watching DETV News.
Auto accident, medical negligence, work injury. Contact Team Tice, your Delaware personal injury lawyers. Leroy Tice in Wilmington, Delaware, serving and supporting the people of Delaware. Call 302-489-2400. That's 302-489-2400. Online at teamtice.com.
Welcome back to DETV News. Well, it certainly doesn't feel like mid-December with these mild temps we've been seeing the past couple of days. Let's check in with Shakira and see if they'll stick around.
Thanks, Matt. Here is your DETV 3-day weekend weather forecast for Newcastle, Kent, and Sussex. Friday, we're looking at mostly cloudy skies with a high of about 62 degrees. Saturday, we're expecting rain all day with highs of about 60 degrees. And on Sunday, we're wrapping up the weekend with partly cloudy skies with a high of about 44 degrees. Now, let's see what's going on in Kent County. Friday, mostly cloudy skies, 61 degrees. Saturday, we're looking at still those high temperatures, cloudy skies, 62 will be the high. And on Sunday, partly cloudy. Temperatures will drop somewhat with a high of about 46 degrees. Now, Sussex, Friday, we're looking at mostly cloudy skies, highs about 64. Saturday, can you believe it? The high will be 69 degrees. Awesome day. And Sunday, partly cloudy skies with a high of about 45 degrees. So I know there are folks out there that are wishing for snow, but we got to enjoy this weather while we have it. Back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Shakira. A milestone attraction has made its way to Wilmington. DETV News reporter Kaylin Pride has more.
A New Orleans-style cuisine restaurant has come to town. Wilma's is the latest attraction by the Buccini Pollen Group that recently opened on Market Street. In addition to it being a Cajun restaurant, the venue also features a pinball arcade and a 4-lane duck pin bowling alley. There has not been a bowling alley in the city's downtown area in almost 55 years. After the entertainment venue was delayed for about a year due to the pandemic, the Buccini Pollen Group finally cut the ribbon.
We are trying to do things that have a certain theme that attract people, not only our local residents and office workers, but also people to come down and check out downtown Wilmington. We really become destinational.
The establishment, formerly known as the Ernest and Scott Tap Room, has now become a place for people of all ages to enjoy. City Councilwoman Michelle Harley tells us how the entertainment venue got its name.
Wilma is a play on Wilmington. So I know a lot of people are wondering, like, who is Wilma? So it's basically just a play on Wilmington. And what I think is so phenomenal about this is that here in Wilmington downtown, we have a tagline that says, it's the place to live, work, and play. So we're here celebrating with the Buccini Pollen Group and our elected officials just to say, hey, you know, come on in. It's time now for us to have some fun.
The opening of the establishment also provides more job opportunities for local residents of the city.
Right. So we have work and employment opportunities here for local residents, whether they live in this building or they live in the surrounding communities and neighborhoods. And that's critically important, particularly coming out of COVID.
Wilma's is now open Wednesdays through Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Make sure to come down and check out this highlight of the city. I'm Kaylin Pride with DETV.
And speaking of food, this was a road trip any foodie would love. U.S. Senator Chris Coons was joined by members of the Delaware State Chamber of Commerce for an event called the Statewide Taste of Delaware Road Trip. It started in Newcastle County and ended in Sussex. For the 10th year, the road trip showcased what Delawareans and tourists love about the first state. Top-rated restaurants, bakeries, distilleries, and breweries, not to mention, of course, the hospitality. The tour is held to honor small business and traditions that make the Diamond State so special. Now, that's a day trip worth taking.
We're going to take a quick break, but don't go away. Nick is up next with your local sports report, so stay with us. You're watching DETV News.
This message is brought to you by Newcastle County Government.
Many wonder, what is a variant? A variant is a mutation or a change in the genetic sequence of the virus. Some of our methods of treating COVID-19 become ineffective. If we were to simply get vaccinated, we could decrease the spread and the likelihood that a mutation would form in the first place. Let's get vaccinated.
Welcome back to DETV News. I'm Nick Alessandrini. We finally wrapped up our football season and crowned our inaugural 1A, 2A, and 3A champions. We will start with a recap of our first matchup of Championship Saturday, number 1 Archmere versus number 2 Woodbridge. Archmere looking for their first title since 1982, and Woodbridge eyeing that title in Coach Marvin Dooley's first year with the program. Both teams were undefeated, and the Auks would open up the scoring early. A huge game on the ground for Archmere, and it started with Declan Pearson. Pearson gets the carry here and finds the end zone from 5 yards out. Auks go on top 7-0. Then a few plays after a Mike Malamachi blocked punt, the Auks would strike again with a Declan Pearson 3-yard run. Auks extend the lead 13-0. Into the second half we go, but Woodbridge still looking for their first points. The Blue Raiders were able to get inside the Archmere 10 twice in the third quarter, but the Auks would come up with consecutive fourth down stands. Then late in the third quarter, do-it-all offensive weapon Johnny Kim takes the handoff on the misdirection and goes 81 yards to the house to help seal the deal for Archmere, and the Auks get their first state title since 1982 with a 27-0 shutout win over Woodbridge in the 2A championship. Chris Albero and Declan Pearson both had a few touchdowns on the ground in that one. Congrats to Archmere. On to Class 3A we go. The biggest matchup at Delaware Stadium on Saturday, number 1 Smyrna and number 2 Middletown. A rematch of the Harvest Bowl from earlier in the year, a game in which Middletown won 28-14, and most have been waiting for this round 2 all season long, and let me tell you, it was worth the wait. Smyrna going to open up the game offensively with a flea flicker. Cameron Edge able to find Devin DeMoe for 46 yards. Shortly after, Wayne Knight would punch it in from the 1. Smyrna on top 6-0. Middletown would answer. On fourth down, the South Carolina signee Braden Davis going to escape the pressure and scramble for a 14-yard touchdown to get the Cavs' first points of the game. Extra point good. Middletown on top 7-6. But back and forth we would go. Next drive for Smyrna, Ymir Knight takes the direct snap from the Earthquake and goes 50 yards to the end zone. Smyrna takes a 14-7 lead. Next drive for the Cavaliers, they put a nice 66-yard drive together, capped off by a Mikey Pearson 4-yard score. Middletown ties it up 14-14. We go to late in the fourth. Middletown driving to take the lead with 4 minutes to go. Braden Davis and company facing a 4th and goal from the Smyrna 3-yard line. Davis has to escape. More pressure, finds his man Zach Caldwell wide open in the end zone for the go-ahead touchdown, and that would be the deciding play of the game. The Cavalier defense was able to hold Smyrna on the last drive as the Eagles run out of time, and head coach Zach Blum and Middletown take home their first championship since 2012 with a 28-22 win over Smyrna. Then our nightcap championship here for Championship Saturday. That's number 1 Laurel making the trip up north to the University of Delaware. They met number 2 St. Elizabeth's. Both teams here in Class 1A had not surrendered a point so far during their playoff runs. The Vikings, though, would change that early as quarterback Brett Smick finds Chris Character for the first points of the night on a 26-yard touchdown. St. E's goes up 8-0 early. Later in the first, Laurel's Javier White will take the handoff 5 yards into the end zone. White goes, capping a 56-yard touchdown drive for the Laurel offense. 8-6, St. E still on top. Then with only 38 seconds before the half, Smick would try and force one across the middle, and Amarion Cannon would pick it off for Laurel. Then one play later, Javier White again, this time a 28-yard touchdown run. big swing for Laurel, who carries a 14-8 lead into the locker room. Then in the third, after a muff snap on the punt, Laurel's Carlos Wilson punches it in from the 3-yard line, a 21-8 lead now for Laurel. Then a little bit later in the fourth, more Wilson. This time he gets in from 8 yards out, and Laurel seals their first championship since 1991 and the fourth in school history with a 28-14 win over St. E's. The University of Delaware has announced the hiring of their head new football coach after dismissing Danny Rocco back in late November. Ryan Carty, the former Blue Hen backup quarterback, who was also a member of the last championship team at Delaware back in 2003, was introduced at the university on Monday. Carty comes over from Sam Houston State, where he served as the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach under former Delaware head coach Casey Keeler. Carty helped Sam Houston State win the 2021 FCS Spring Championship and will look to bring that success to Delaware. Carty had this to say on Monday.
As sincerely as I can say it, I am so excited, humbled, thankful to be blessed with an opportunity to come back home.
That'll do it for sports this week. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, more DETV News.
Let DART do the driving. DART First State provides transportation that is clean, safe, reliable, and affordable. Plan your trip and get real-time bus information with the free DART Transit app. Scan your phone to pay your fare with the free DART Pass app. So what are you waiting for? Try transit today. Visit dartfirststate.com or call 1-800-652-DART.
Welcome back to DETV News. Delaware State University's annual Presidential Scholarship Ball was in full effect this weekend. It was the university's first ball since 2019, and the evening featured a dazzling night of live entertainment, dancing, music, and festivities. The purpose of the signature event is to provide financial support to DSU students through donations and scholarships raised at the ball. Every year, guest celebrity artists are invited to give spectacular performances, and this year the ball featured none other than Kenny Babyface Edmonds. The Grammy Award-winning artist rocked the house, or rather the Chase Center, by performing some of his hit songs produced such as Every Little Step, Can We Talk, and My, My, My. The event was a perfect way to celebrate the holidays.
Our reporter-producer, Kaylin, was there, and she was very, very excited, I have to tell you all. Many children and their families also got the chance to dress up and enjoy a night of festivities at the Chocolate Ball of Delaware. The ball is a formal event for low-income families in the city of Wilmington. It was created to promote positive family dynamics, increase representation of diversity in formal spaces, and to enhance interpersonal skills in participating youth.
At the end of the day, the goal is to encourage positive family dynamics, and so the hope is that these families will come out and have a really great time. It's going to encourage excellence in places where typically they don't think they feel welcomed.
Children ages 4 to 12 enjoyed a night of evening activities, dancing, and most importantly, they had fun with their families. And finally tonight, the 26th annual Ellesmere Christmas Parade was held this past Sunday. The parade featured fire trucks, floats, bands, marching units, classic cars, and of course, Santa and Mrs. Claus. The Grand Marshal for the event was World War II bomber pilot veteran and Ellesmere resident Ray Fermani. Both Fermani and the Ellesmere Fire Company turned 100 this year.
As you all know, Mr. Fermani is the parade marshal this year for the holiday parade. This year he celebrated a special birthday. So I would like to present this tribute to Ray Fermani on behalf of the entire House of Representatives.
Mr. Fermani was featured on the news a couple of months ago, so it's great to see him back on the show.
Really cool. Really a cool way to bring in the holidays.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Mr. Fermani, and to the Ellesmere Fire Department.
And that is our weekend review. Thanks for watching DETV News. I'm Lauren Wilson.
And I'm Matt Ford. Be sure to check out DETV across social media. Stay well, and we'll see you next week.
DETV News is sponsored by Newcastle County Government.